What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Comment Writers. We are a Kamen Rider review podcast. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, joined as always by my good friend, Toby Tobes. How's it going, Toby?
Fantastic, Josh. It's nice to see you calm down.
Yeah, we had a
Not
long...
Whoa.
All right, well, I thought we were going to show some solidarity here. I had a long fight with our recording software that we use before this call. It just wouldn't work for me. It was working fine for Toby. No idea. No clue what's going on, but we've used it for a very long time now and have had no issues and have made no changes. And for some reason, it just wasn't working for me today.
It all came together, though. Josh is the happiest he's ever been in the past 10 minutes.
I'm fired up. I'm fired up about this whole recording stuff. And then before that, Discord was being weird, so I didn't even see the message for a few minutes that you had sent me that then didn't work. So it was like I was already fired up when I tried to click the link, and then that didn't work. It was just extra. It was insult on to injury is what this was.
We piled him up. Josh is concussed from slamming his head against the desk.
Oh man, yeah, totally. We're gonna have to enact the Comment Writers concussion protocol. Which is where you wake me up every hour and ask me if I know who you are. Still.
And Josh denies it every time, like a good friend.
Funny story. When I was a kid, I mean like, I don't know, maybe I was like elementary school age, like fourth grade, somewhere in there.
27.
Potentially third grade. I was fairly young. I like bonked heads really hard with a sixth grader. We were both running, kind of heads down, like at each other, smashed heads. I got a huge knot on my head. I got a concussion. So because of that my mom the doctor told her, like, it's okay. Like, he can go to sleep, but wake him up every hour or every 2 hours. Like, wake him up and make sure he knows who you are. I don't know if that's actually what you do for concussions nowadays, because this is many years ago, but that's what the doctor told her then. So that's reasonable enough. Wake your kid up, make sure your kid knows who you are and is cognizant, and then he can go back to sleep again. Except my mom would always do this funny thing when she would wake me up in the mornings, where she would come in when I was a kid and say, like, hey, time to get up for school. And she would say that she's someone else. She'd be like, hey, it's the chauffeur. I'm the chef. Your mom sent me in to wake you up, like that kind of thing, right? So she would wake me up in the middle of the night with me having a concussion. She'd be like, Josh, I need you to tell me who I am. And I'd be like, you're the chauffeur. I'm going back to sleep. And she couldn't get me to actually say that I was her mom. I would only tell her that she was like random other people, because she'd started that bit. So she didn't know if I was actually brain damaged or if I was just playing along.
That's fantastic. So apparently the concussion protocol is if you're not forced to be hospitalized, you are allowed to go home and go to sleep. And all it really says is you have to make sure someone is with you to make sure you can wake up. But there's no more timing on this. Like when I was younger, I remember hearing don't let the person go to sleep. And I remember hearing wake them up every hour, like you said, like we're basically the same age. And now it just looks like it just says someone needs to be with you to make sure you wake up. It says your caregiver may need to waken you regularly to make sure you can awaken normally.
Okay, so that's still relatively the same then. Like, they're not saying every hour, but they're saying, like, don't let this person sleep for like a long time. Make sure that they're, not going into a coma, I guess. That's really, I guess, what we're checking is the just sleep, not a coma.
Yeah, I'd assume like either like coma or death or something else, like weird brain swell, like make sure they're still a functioning individual.
Yeah, it's weird. You don't mess around with brain injuries, kids. It's a weird thing.
That's what they tell you, Josh.
Yeah. I had a friend who got hit with a golf club as a kid, like someone swinging, like doing a drive, and like hit him in the head on accident with a golf club, and that also is very bad for your brain. Turns out
it could be.
He's okay now. He's an adult. He's fine.
When I was in, I think it was still elementary school, the neighbor kid across the street from me got pissed off at me for something, and he swung an aluminum bat at my back as hard as possible, and I went home and had to
Holy
lay down.
crap.
But I took the hit like a champ. So
Okay,
that
good.
was the first of my training of like maybe I should have been like ECW.
Yeah.
I should be
Yeah.
a hardcore wrestler, but instead I'm freaking an IT guy talking to you.
Yeah, you're an IT guy podcaster. Here we are.
Cool.
And you haven't taken probably a single light tube to the back, as far as I'm aware.
Actually, I did that in college a couple times.
Yeah, that doesn't shock me.
Josh, in college, aka my wild years, there was some adult beverages consumed, and so this was around the same time that I realized that I had anxiety problems.
Good, great,
So
awesome.
we were hanging out, drinking, acting stupid. We had garbage light tubes. So I was like, "Oh, I'll put my hoodie hood up over my head. I'll just bend over a little bit." I said, "Just swing it across my head and my back. I don't really care." Like, I was like, "I know I can't die from this. It's just glass and exploding little bits and whatever."
Mhm.
Went home that night, started having a panic attack, thinking I was dying, and then it just escalated nicely, and like nothing was wrong. And at that time, from some dumb, I used to play. I think this is where he's from. I used to play Online Survivor on like AIM, which is as weird and as dumb as it sounds like it is.
Like the TV show Survivor?
Yeah, but it's
Okay,
just
got
basically
it.
like 10 people in a chat room. Someone would make up a mission for the week. Everyone was supposed to like do the mission together, figure out the puzzle together, and then if you get voted off, you get voted off. Kind of vibe.
Yeah, okay, that's amazing.
So like I was probably 19 or 20 for that. I'm one of the other people that did it was like, I mean, might have been a PA, might have been a doctor. His AIM name was Doc. It was either Doctor Duendum or Doc Duendum. It's
Okay.
your Duendum's your stomach, I believe.
Sure. We'll go with that. Who knows? No one
So
fact checks that.
he was my go-to when I had my anxiety stuff, at least in the beginning, because I didn't know what was going on. So that night, and I was like, I think I'm dying. My friend hit me with a light bulb over the head, and my head was covered, and I think I'm dying. And like he was probably like, this weird kid is just coming at me right now. It was
Yeah.
just like, oh no, you'll be fine. Like, don't worry about it. Like, if you're getting worked up, you're getting worked up, but you'll be safe. Don't worry.
You're not gonna die. The real scary part, because I've broken some light tubes in my day, but potentially over a back, and things happen. Kids play. The scary part about light tubes though is for me the dust that comes out of them. Like that's the creepy, like that's the part that's gonna kill you.
Yeah, the
You're
part
gonna
like that no one
inhale
really
it.
thought about or knew. Or
Yeah.
like I guess they probably knew. I guess they didn't think about. Like when you blow up a shitty incandescent light bulb tube, just like a giant white puff of whatever's inside there. Just
Yeah.
breathe it all in. Probably get glass dust in your lungs. Good times.
Totally. Yeah, I remember the first time I broke one of those, and just watching that dust cloud come up, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is probably the bad part. This is probably the thing. Like it's not getting cut. It's like inhaling all this crap. It's gonna cause some problems later. Who knows? Maybe it did.
Maybe this is why
Uh,
we're both the way that we are.
maybe. And the way that we are, Toby, is here to talk about Kamen Rider.
That was a good segue.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Except I almost said Kamen Rider Geats, which is not the show that we're watching anymore. Kamen Rider Gotchard is the show that we're watching. We're watching episode 15 for this week. And we've got an email. Let's jump over to emails, Toby.
Go ahead.
Our email this week comes in from our friend Kieran. Kieran says, by the time people are listening to this, the winter movie should be out. We had a bit of a tease in episode 15 of what the movie is about, but we won't be getting, as your first thought, a dozen episodes going through all the level 10s. They're just dumping them out in one go. The issue,
That's
obviously...
classic.
Yeah, classic Gotchard. The issue, obviously, is we won't get to see it for months, which is an extra problem because, unlike some movies, which are just their own story and don't really connect to the show, this one will apparently directly connect back to the show, which means there may be some confusion from episode 16 onwards, unless we can get some kind of recap/flashback. It will be interesting to see what the next arc of the story will be. One little extra bit, if you haven't taken note, all the level 10s have the letter X in their name. Now, what does that make you think of, Toby? Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Number 10?
It makes me think of the X-Men.
Either the number 10 I believe Final Fantasy items had X's in them.
I was gonna say it's got to be some sort of like Kingdom Hearts thing that Kieran is referencing.
It was. See, it should be 13 then. I don't know why he's doing this. Oh, no, never mind. Duh. I got
What?
you, Kieran. No, because like I taught you long ago. All the nobodies have X's in their names.
Oh, okay, got it.
Like League becomes Axel because you shift the letters around and blah, blah, blah. I'm glad that we got there. See, I didn't get there, but my good friend Josh gave me
I
a
got
nudge.
you there. Yeah.
And it's even funnier because I have like 5 notes through this coming episode we're about to talk about where Gotchard is just Kingdom Hearts. So I even had it on my brain today, and yet
Still wasn't enough.
The light bulb dust is just floating around in there right now, jiggling around. I just couldn't get there.
You inhaled it, and it's just been floating around in that cranium since then, just blocking all those synapses. That's been the problem.
Like UFO X is going to turn into Fuox and turn into a person with his hood and go take down Sora.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google Fuox right now.
That's not. What if that's real? You're going to spoil the goddamn show. Fuox.
It's not. I thought you were turning it into a Kingdom Hearts character. I thought that's what you were doing.
I did.
But he's not. But Fuox is not a Kingdom Hearts character.
But if it's UFO and it has an X in his name, now I have to make a new name with an X in it, Josh. So in a matter of seconds, I crafted a new Kingdom Hearts name.
But it would have been cooler if you tied it to a real Kingdom Hearts character. I think we can all agree.
Okay. UFO X turns into Roxas. They sound the same.
Thank you. How do I spell Roxas?
Roxas.
I just need to. Sometimes I need eyes on Kingdom. Wait, isn't this just Sora?
No, it's Sora's nobody, Josh. I just fucking told you how the X's work.
I just like this series with a strong passion.
Josh, there was a whole game where it seemed like it was all about Roxas, and everyone didn't know how to feel about that. And then all of a sudden, boom, you realize he's just Sora.
Is that 358 over 2 days? Is that game?
That's one of them.
Which one is about Roxas? Tell me. Is that really one of them?
Yeah.
Great. Perfect. Did I get the numbers right? Are those the right numbers?
What numbers did you say?
I think I said 358 over 2.
That is correct.
Oh my god, I'm so freaking good at Kingdom Hearts. That's amazing. I can't believe I pulled those numbers out of nowhere.
Because it's that good. That's why.
Wasn't that game also like a mobile game? Now I'm Googling it.
So a bunch of the games were also Game Boy Advance games. But there are also mobile games that are separate.
That one was
like the mobile game,
apparently.
Yeah, and then they remade it for the cool systems.
Okay, got it. I think the DS is a pretty cool system. Listen, if we're gonna rank systems on their cool factor, well, the DS is probably pretty low on that. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I think the DS became cool. But remember the first DS that came out, the big fat one when it first launched? That was maybe the uncoolest system that has ever existed.
I'm going to forget what the game's called. Trauma Center?
That's a cool game.
The surgery game?
Yeah.
I bought a Nintendo DS specifically for Trauma Center. That was my number one purchase because I thought it looked awesome. And then I believe there was a 3DS one too. And I once again bought a 3DS for Trauma Center.
Apparently,
the
Trauma Center,
Wii one sucks. The DS one's
Trauma Center. It's Trauma Center Under the Knife. Yeah, I think is the full title there. Yeah, that's a cool game. There's a lot of cool stuff on the DS, but the system itself not cool. Not a cool looking system.
I hacked both of my DSs because it's very simple.
Yeah,
the easy one where you just put the cartridge in and just download ROMs and dump them on the cartridge.
Yeah, I had a flash cart. I had a flash cart for sure. Yeah,
that was the best.
Yeah, I miss systems that were easily hackable like that like didn't really have any internet connectivity of their own, couldn't really update firmware, so it was like, well, this is just always going to work. It's going to be fine. Yeah, those were the days.
For the entire run of systems, that would be whatever the generation would be of Xbox, PlayStation 2, Dreamcast, Nintendo DS, and maybe one more in that gap. All 4 or 5 of my systems were all hacked, and I paid for no games throughout my entire college.
Nice.
That's how I made it through college with no money. So I wasn't wasted on dumb shit.
I was the weird kid that did both, where I was like hacking a lot of systems and pirating a lot of games, but also like buying a lot of games too on top of it. Like, I don't really know how I even made the delineation of like, this is what I'm buying and this is what I'm this is what I'm stealing. But I did both throughout the whole time that I was doing like hack systems and stuff. I don't know.
Well, and the best part too, at least for the three main console things, Dreamcast came pre-hacked, and you could just burn the games onto Blu-rays or like
Yeah.
dual-disc DVDs or regular DVDs,
Yep.
and they would just play, or CD or normal CD-ROMs.
It was just CDRs because the Dreamcast had GD-ROMs, but yeah, you could play the games off just regular CDRs.
That one, I had a flip-top PlayStation 2, which basically you put a boot disc in through the normal disc drive, and it loaded in, and boot that, and then you literally just like opened the top of the PlayStation 2 like you were opening like the hood of a car almost. It just
Yep.
popped up, and you picked the disc out and dropped the burnt disc in and closed it back up, and it'll load that. So that one was fun. So that's when Netflix or Gamefly started doing the game rentals.
Oh yeah.
I think it was Gamefly. So that's how I got all my PlayStation 2 games. And then my Xbox had a huge hard drive installed in it, which was probably like 200 gigs in those days. But that one was just rent a game. You could rip it straight to the hard drive and you just play it off the hard drive afterwards.
So I didn't have an Xbox One at the time when that was a thing, but I did the same thing with my PS3 because there was a window where the PS3 was like fully cracked open, and you could do the same thing, like go rent a disc, dump it to the hard drive, and then you just play it forever. I ended up removing the hack on the PS3 for some dumb reason because eventually you couldn't have the system on the newest firmware because they patched it out, obviously. So like there was some new game I wanted to play. So I was like, okay, well, I'll give up my hack so I can play the new cool game. It's like, you idiot. I gave up like so many awesome games on the hard drive for that. But that was living the dream for sure. Bringing a game home and just ripping it to your hard drive. So you had it forever.
Yeah, like I said, that was most of my I had a PO box in college because we didn't have an actual mailbox on my apartment. So
Okay.
my mailbox literally was, I had the 8 DVD Netflix plan, which was the max at the time, because those would just rotate in and get ripped onto VCDs. So it was like 2 discs for every movie.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
Gamefly rentals would just get dumped to either like get burnt into DVDs for PlayStation or get dumped onto the hard drive of the Xbox. So basically my most of my college time was spent stealing some form of media over and over and over.
Were you even watching these movies that are coming in, or you're just collecting them?
Well, I mean, eventually both. It's just like,
Okay.
because at that point I was super into all like the crazy like 70s and 80s shitty horror movies.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm not going to buy these, but
You're just getting them. Yeah.
I will rent 8 of them at a time and just start rotating discs out.
I love that look at like the amount to which you were getting at a time. You're a full on pirate operation at that point. Like mine was a little bit more casual. It was like I went and rented one game and ripped it to my hard drive and then returned to that one game. And you're like, no, eight at a time, and also a separate Gamefly rental.
I maxed out. Yeah,
that's great.
And those are the good old days too, where ripping TV shows wasn't really a thing yet. Like there weren't like DVDs of TV shows. So I paid for an entire Christmas the one year from ripping or making my own VCDs of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, C-Lab, Birdman, like the whole Adult Swim lineup at that point.
Yeah.
And I could sell like a set. I think it was for like $25 a set on eBay for what came out to like 35 cents worth of CDRs.
I love that you're like I like that you're just admitting to actual real crime now. like I know we both
statute
were,
limitations.
but I was just like, I was ripping this for my own personal use at home, and you're like, I started a piracy business.
Yeah, and that was the Wild West of eBay until they started cracking down. But I got like 6 months out of it. My buddy that taught me how to do most of this shit did it for like a year. But it definitely paid for, like, it was when I didn't have a job at that point in college. But it paid for a whole year of like Netflix rentals and Christmas presents.
That's awesome. I remember when I first started going to comic conventions, you would happen upon booths sometimes that clearly their entire business model was that, where they had ripped a bunch of stuff and pirated a bunch of things, and had made these like custom boxed sets for like every nostalgic TV show that you could imagine, every cartoon you ever wanted. And it was like, oh, do you want the entire like GI Joe TV show on DVD? Well, here it is. You can buy it. It's 30 DVDs, and like, and they made a custom cover for it, and it looks sweet. Those were always really cool, but like right as I was old enough to start going to cons, I feel like those got like shoved out. It was like every con caught on to the fact that those were like very pirated and didn't let those people come to the the shows anymore. But that was a real fun time too.
Yeah, because especially like that's when I learned with like everyone just put like the real basic cheap like home movie DVD menus on the like your little burnt DVDs with like I think it was Corel DVD Studio or one of them.
Yep, that's
So
what
just
I
have like
used for sure.
it'll just have like the 4 little boxes of like you could type like episode 1, episode 2. And like I just always felt smart. It's one of those things where like it was very stupid and easy to do, but I felt smart doing it. And I don't know why.
That's always the best. Yeah, that's like a good crossword puzzle. All right, well that's probably enough. Fully implicating ourselves in crime.
Kieran, what'd you do?
Yeah, so that's our emails. I'm just trying to unravel the rap sheet that you and I have just built there. If you want to send us in an email, you can do that just like Kieran did. Send that over to cast@commonwritersucks.com. Once again, that's cast@commonwritersucks.com. And we are going to talk about Kamen Rider Gotchard episode 15 today. But before that, I just wanted to point out that we do have a Patreon. A Patreon, if I do say so myself, is pretty awesome. For just $3 a month, you get access for, I guess, $1 a month. You get access to our Discord, and then for $3 a month, you get Discord access, but also access to all of our bonus content, where we are doing watch and reacts, where we watch old seasons of Kamen Rider, and you get to watch along with us. You get to hear our thoughts and our jokes as we go along, kind of like Mystery Science Theater, but for Kamen Rider. Super, super fun. If you sign up now, you get access to everything we've ever done up until this point, which is a lot of content at this point. So, yeah, feel free to check that out. And, of course, join in on the Discord community, too. We would
Josh just reminded me that I need to update our newest episode. So the content's coming live as you hear this. That's how good. That's how good we are.
So good. So good. Yeah, check that out. Patreon.com/thecommentwriters to check that, or link in the description as well. So Toby, let's jump into Gotchard episode 15. So I don't really want to go through this like beat by beat because the majority of this episode is just fighting, really. So I kind of want to jump around and hit some high points, hit some things I wanted to talk about. So if there's anything that you want to hit that I've skipped or missed, definitely jump in and let's chat about it. But this is the continuation of the X-Rex episode from last week. And I think you and I both were like pretty down on the things that had happened in that episode, just because of some of the plot points didn't really gel super well, and the whole X-Rex eats people to get their memories thing was a little hokey and silly. And this episode was so much better for me because all that stuff was behind, and now we just get to do a fun fight.
It's like I only really know a couple seasons, but it's like what I feel like Geats did a lot too, when it was the pre-baked 2-parters for no reason. Like the one half of it always had a crazy amount of things going on, but went nowhere. And then the other half of it always filled in all the pieces that you wanted the information for, and just like it turned into a good episode.
Yeah,
like this one and like a bunch of the old Geats ones and some other things would work better as just, I think, a 45-minute episode, like a little mini movie, more so than cut it in half at the natural-ish break point.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if you take both of these things together, maybe cut out some of the stuff from the first episode that didn't work so well, and yeah, you get a little mini double episode. I think that makes this a lot more palatable. But as it stands, this episode opens, we get to see our full transformation into the Super Gotchard Cross X Rex, which I think is an awesome name. Cross X Rex.
He looks with his new little armor. He looks very big fat X80 to me.
He does. Yeah, I think so. But I think it's cool for me. I think the UFO look is funny and outrageous and ridiculous, and I love it. And I think this is very close to outrageous, but I think that it is more on the looking rad side than looking outrageous side for me at least. I like all the like I like the X imagery mixed in with all the like dinosaur mouth that's all over his chest and stuff. So it works for me. I like Cross X Rex. They also definitely do some like really good, I guess, attack moves, we'll call them. Like there's a one point where he like flips his tail real hard and it looks really cool. Towards the end, he does a big slashing move where it's like a big claw slash that kind of comes out of him and hits the enemy. So there's some really good dinosaur themed things going on here,
The mouth screams and does a T-Rex roar and beats the shit out of people.
which is super cool. Super cool. But of course, we had in this the fight is continuing where the daughter and her father are kind of in peril. The Abyssal Sisters are wanting to essentially kill them, and the alchemists are trying to prevent that. Kamen Rider is trying to prevent that, and we have a whole scene as well, like extended time, where once again Atropos and Kudo have a battle of wits, I guess we'll say. Atropo kind of like freezes Kudo and eventually makes Kudo choke herself while they're talking.
So my question to that was if all of them, or at least the main littlest of the baby metals, is powerful enough to make the humans choke themselves out and has that kind of power.
Why are we just not doing that?
Yeah, like why even battle? Why not just have Kudo and Hodoro just like choke themselves out and just win?
I mean, at some point I think she does point out that like Kudo doesn't have any like special abilities of her own. Like she says something to the effect of basically like you're not special, like you don't have power essentially. So maybe she can't do that to like the teacher Minato. Maybe she can't do that to a Kamen Rider because he's transformed. Maybe Kudo is the one where she can still overpower. I don't know, but yeah, it seems like because she essentially treats Kudo like a marionette doll here, just like moves her limbs around, kind of traps her arms behind her, shoves her to her knees, makes her choke herself, like does anything that she wants. So it seems like you would just have the humans kill themselves. I don't know. It seems like a good way to handle it.
And part of their big fight was the little one kept telling Kudo, like, your dad's a traitor. He wanted to open the door for darkness all by himself and use the powers of the chemis for bad, much like Xehanort from Kingdom Hearts. Just for the record. That's number one. And then some other goofy stuff with those fights, too, is the one Abyssal Sister did a triple mutation where she just like kept stacking 3 different plant type chemis. And it looked cool as like she kept stacking on more things, like the costume would evolve more and more.
Yeah.
So that was pretty sick.
Yeah, that was cool. Like the last one became like a shield or whatever. It's cool that they can do different things with chemis. Like I like that they're not just mirror images of the alchemists, but like they're bad, air quotes. Like I like that they can do the double and triple transformations. I like that because later we also see the sister that is wearing the dread armor. She scans like a bunch of cards all at once to like extra power up.
She does like 10 Ant Troopers, and it keeps going, drain, Ant Trooper, drain, Ant Trooper, and then she gets more and more powered. I guess that's like a fake level 10. And they're even worried, like, oh, you're gonna die. It's too powerful for you. You can't do this.
That's so cool. Like it even like the voice where it's doing like, drain Ant Trooper, like it sounded like a computer when you queue up too many actions in a row, and it's just like the sound over and over and over again. So yeah, I like that sort of thing where they can basically pervert the idea of how chemis are used. Like essentially is what they're doing, right? It's like, well, you take 2 of them and you join them together, and like, no, I'm going to do 3, or I'm just going to do this over and over and over again until I get more powerful. Like that's pretty cool. The three that she used apparently were Happy Clover, Bam Bamboo, and Bulgizia.
The bamboo turned into a gun blade looking thing, and that was cool
Yeah,
too. And even the fight when they were all fighting after she went triple mutation, they did, and it worked better this time. They did the thing where they just fought with the chemi cards and just did like chemi skills more than like actual fighting. And it wasn't as bad as when they did like the bunny parka and they
yeah,
did like the dumb ones that way. So depending on how they use the cards, it works okay. Because I think she did like a spider web attack grab kind of thing
yeah,
with it,
yeah,
and it just looks, depending on which skill they're using, it looks cool if they're not just like burning through chemi cards just to burn through chemi cards.
yeah. Totally. And the gun did look cool too that she had. Like there was a lot of like menacing my boots on this person's head. I'm pointing my gun at it. Like very cool visuals and stuff that came from that too. When she was just using the first three even. Yeah, the way that this show treats chemis is really interesting because the theme of the show, right, is all that chemis matter, they're important, they're our friends, we're gonna be
Pokemon.
friends with all. What? Pokemon, yeah. But like but then like the way the show actually does them, which we see at the end, is just like the show loves to fan out like 10 different chemis and show you them all at once and then not care about the individual ones. Like they sort of pick the one chemi out every week that it matters. Like X Rex got this week, and then the rest of them they're like, oh, and here's like 13 more that are just gonna flash by the screen, and you're not even gonna be able to read their names.
Wait, that's what like the first time they did it. That's they burnt through like 6 or 7 chemis we never saw,
Yeah,
and then just accept you accepted the fact that like, okay, we'll just collected another 7. Here's their 2 seconds of screen time. We'll never talk about them again, but they were here. Now you saw them, so obviously you need these cards for yourself.
and I guess that's a little bit like Pokemon, where like Ash has his team that you see the most and you care about the most, but maybe they encounter other ones, or he'll you'll walk by them when he gets to a city or something. But it feels very extreme, and I keep thinking back about the like idea that they design all of the toys and stuff first and then write the show kind of around that. And some of the way that they reveal the chemis feels very much like, all right, we just got to get through these so we can tell our story. Like we just got to I don't know, throw them out there. I'll give you 20 seconds of airtime. Just show me like 14 chemis so we can get the toy people off our backs, and then we'll keep telling our story.
We had to make 10. We had to make 10 job chemis. So here's Bunny Parka. Now we're down to 9 more. We need to show you.
Exactly. It feels especially funny because it feels in such like weird juxtaposition to like what the show is trying to say about chemis. And then they use them like fodder so often. I'm interested. So back to Kudo and Atropo, the little baby metal girl. Their whole like relationship, I don't know where really we're going with those two, because like we thought that there was going to be something deeper in kind of their interactions. Then we find out that like, oh, Kudo's actually just being weird because she feels guilty. Now they're continuing to have these like side conversations in the middle of fights, and I just don't know how much longer that can continue if there's really nothing else there other than her being antagonistic, like
Well, it's funny because like through that and tied to last episode, I was again impressed and I thought it was hilariously dumb that all of Kudo's powers mentally the past 2 episodes has been from the other little 5-year-old kid being like, "No, Dad, you can do it. We care about all you. Like we all have the power." And that's what motivated Kudo to talk shit to Atropo, which is funny to me because I was thinking about it and basically like the way that she broke her own chokehold was basically treating Atropo like a 6-year-old and being
yeah,
like, "Oh, you're just a cranky little kid because you don't have any friends." And Atropo was like, "No, it's not true." And she's like, "No, I get it now. You're just miserable because you have no friends. You just want friends. You don't know how to act properly." And it pissed Atropo off enough where like her eyes unhawked out and then she like kind of like threw a tantrum and stormed away.
yeah,
And I just thought it was like so absurd. Like of all the things for a way to defeat like the most powerful of these alchemy wielding evil sisters, was telling the one like, "You're kind of being a little shithead. You should probably stop it, just so you know." And then she's just like, "I should stop," and just like stormed off.
She even told her like you just want to be my friend, like that's why you're doing this, like you're just looking for someone to be your friend, which is a hilarious thing to say to someone who's using your own hand to choke you. By the way, you're just looking for a buddy. But yeah, I loved that she just like turned it around on her, just like, no, you're just lonely, you're just being a little shit, like this is all on you, this has nothing to do with me and my father.
And she hit her with the classic, "You're pathetic," which usually seems to piss off a lot of people in a lot of media situations.
So pathetic. Yeah, it's great. I love that Kudo kind of like mentally fought back here. It's very cool. Which continues the theme of like Kudo is. It's awesome that Kudo has not been a damsel in distress, even though she gets targeted directly a lot of times. Like she's not as strong, of course, as the professor, obviously, because she's still a student. She's not the Kamen Rider, but she's still like right in the middle of all the fights and like kind of being a badass most of the time. So that's still very cool. I like her a lot as a character.
That's very nice of you.
Thank you. I think one other thing. So we also found out that Spanner's not dead too. So that was, I guess, a thing that the Abyssal Sisters thought last episode, that they'd maybe killed Spanner. We all knew that, of course, they didn't. But we officially see him back this episode.
Christmas was ruined.
Yeah, exactly.
But through his almost death, he recognized that Hodoro probably might be a little more powerful than he thought, and probably isn't as shitty of a Kamen Rider / human / Kemi befriender as he possibly thought beforehand.
He has like two moments. Like there's one point he was like one hit or something. Like he has like a thing where he says like basically like, oh my god, he's super powerful.
He just one shot that boss. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he says. And then at the end he gives Hodoro a knowing nod. He's like, yeah, you got it, buddy.
And it's funny because like I say it a lot, but especially with us watching X8 at the same time, it was very when like Hiro accepts the M isn't just like a shitty kid / doctor, and he's probably has some talent and skills, and it's the same nod of like, all right, yep, we're not going to talk about it, but I got you.
Yeah, I'm still not going to act like I like you, but like you've earned the respect. Here it is. Yeah. I really liked the characterization of the sisters in this episode too. That was one of my other points I'd written down, because I feel like mostly up until now, the Abyssal Sisters had kind of just been a unit. Like we had the little one who would go talk to Kudo, but the other two were just sort of like henchmen, and they looked different and dressed different, but they didn't really behave very differently. And I feel like in these past two episodes, one of the highlights of these past two episodes has been that each of the sisters is getting their own unique personality and like they are targeting different people, right? Like one of them really hates Spanner, one of them really hates the Kamen Rider, and they have different ways of like controlling Dread. I think that's very cool. Like the one of them is just like, I'm gonna power Dread up and maybe I'll kill myself, and that scared the other one. But the other one, when she was Dread, was a little bit more like flowing and yeah, right. She had a more like feminine vibe to it. So I like that. I feel like they're characters more than just like evil henchmen. So that's been very nice. So did you catch the homage to the original Kamen Rider that happened in this episode?
I think you know the answer, but please continue.
So there's a point at the end as Hodoro is kind of like powering up. This is, I think, after Spanner winks at him. There's a scene where basically behind him there is a like spinning red and white kind of cyclone graphic going, and he like flashes between his face, human face, and Kamen Rider face. That is like a direct reference to the original Kamen Rider, like Kamen Rider 1. Because the little spinning cyclone is from the original Kamen Rider belt, and it would spin when he would henshin, and the like face flashing back and forth thing you'd see in that show too. So they just straight up referenced the original Kamen Rider, which is very cool.
It's also a reference to Kingdom Hearts because Sora's greatest power is his friends. So when Hodoro was about to lose, all of his friends' friendship and belief in him and everything else made him super strong, and he was able to win. Just remember
Well,
that.
truly one with the power of friendship. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
See? Kingdom Hearts all day today.
Did Sora ever swipe a bunch of Ant Trooper cards and create a blood sacrifice? Because that's what happened in the show.
I don't remember him doing that, but
That's too bad.
he did collect 99 Dalmatians when Pongo and Purdy lost them across all of the Kingdom Hearts lands.
Did you have to go around all the lands and collect dogs one by one?
See, you say have to, and I didn't have to, but I did, because why would you leave some of the dogs out in the world?
Did you get an achievement for it?
I know, because it's an old PlayStation game. There's no achievements.
Okay. Did you get
Josh,
100% for it?
No, I didn't do that in Kingdom Hearts either.
Okay.
I just had to save the dogs, Josh. Josh, you can't leave the dogs in the world.
Listen, you're doing the world a favor if you leave some of the dogs out. I'll say, I'll be the bad guy here. 101 Dalmatians is too many Dalmatians.
Well,
too many.
That's why Bob Barker always pushed for spare or neuter your pets.
Exactly. Bob would get it. Like, it's just, if you have 101 dogs, you're going to have 101 dogs who don't have a good life, right? If you have 10 dogs, you can have 10 dogs that are going to have a good life. So maybe we need to kill like 90 dogs. That's all I'm saying.
That's horrible of you. Josh, along with that vibe real quick though, McDonald's Happy Meals back in the day, there was a couple month gap where they had all 101 Dalmatians as Happy Meal toys.
I remember that, yeah.
And they even gave you a poster of all 101 dogs on the poster to show you all the dogs to collect. And if you don't think I hung that poster on my goddamn wall and crossed off every dog as I collected them, you'd be crazy.
Did you get them all?
No, I got to like 25 or 30. And then that was way before this was way before I was stealing CDs on eBay and I was still a young child. So eventually, we only ever went, but usually mom would take me on Fridays for McDonald's. Like that was like our end of the week mother-son thing.
Yeah.
So I got one every week. And then I know like some of my friends got some when we went too. And like that kind of way, but I never collected them all. So now that I'm an adult, I should probably try to get the rest of them.
You should. I'm looking at the poster right now and they're pretty cool. I don't know if you've gotten a Happy Meal toy in the last, let's say, 15 years, Toby.
I feel like they suck now.
Oh, it's a sad state of affairs. My daughter gets Happy Meals sometimes now, and essentially they're generally like often just cardboard based, and like I think maybe all the time now there might be like a new regulation or some crap. But like when I was a kid, we used to get like real toys, and like if you looked through my toys that I had as a kid, like a good chunk of them were just Happy Meal toys, and they were awesome. Like they were real toys. Do you remember when they would do like Hot Wheels cars, and that was the best time of the summer when like the Hot Wheels car toys would come out?
Those were good. And then there was a year where they did McDonald's Transformers. They might have did it twice.
Oh yeah,
but I definitely had all those.
I had all those too, I think, or a bunch of them at least.
A full set of the Dalmatians go for $75 on eBay.
That's not bad. I'm looking at the Dalmatians too, and that's what I'm talking about. Is like they're real toys. Like they're all sculpted differently. Some of them are like cars. Like it's a Dalmatian driving a bus and has wheels on it. Like they look fun to play with in the year of our Lord 2023, which is a sad state of affairs. Yeah.
Apparently, at some point too, they put a collector's box out, or there was 2 collector's boxes, and it looks like a briefcase that's Dalmatian patterned.
Is it just all of them in the box?
Yeah, like they actually had cutouts of the correct sizes, or this person made a box, but it looks like they had cutouts of the correct sizes. So like if you got like the bus dog, there was enough room in like one of the sideways rectangle ones to put bus dog, and then like dog that was like hidden in a teacup. It goes in a little smaller box in the box, and there was a whole thing going.
That's cool. That's pretty cool. Now I'm googling that too. But yeah, like toys that come with, I could do a whole episode on the terribleness that is fast food toys now. There are a lot of them now where the toy, air quotes, will just be essentially nothing, and then it'll tell you to like scan this with your mom or dad's phone, and it'll just be like a phone game. Like that's not a toy, that's a phone game. Like we're not gonna be sitting at this restaurant and I'm gonna hand my phone over to my greasy fingered 4-year-old. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's terrible, Toby.
Okay,
But
so now I derailed you enough. Now let's finish the episode.
yeah, all right, it's finishing the episode up. So of course the everybody wins. The good guys win. Everyone's happy. The dinosaur dad is he reunites with his daughter. They are like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a terrible father. She's like, no, you're great. You protected me. Oh my god, I love you. And then Toby, we find out he's going to be writing for, I believe, the same occult magazine now that Kajiki reads. So that's exciting.
They're keeping a lot of people who got brain wiped still very much in the realm of Kamen Rider and UFOs and T-Rexes being a thing. So there's a lot of people adjacent to the situation that don't know how adjacent there are.
Oh yeah, because did we see the mind wipe on Sawa and her dad? They didn't happen, right?
What
I don't
I think
remember.
it did in the sense that like the professor guy was like hiding behind a tree at the end.
Yeah, he's like
And he
watching
was
him, but
like,
he says Merry Christmas though.
I think he let them keep it because it was a blurry picture of the dinosaur,
Oh,
and it
okay.
wasn't real enough. And I think he recognized like the actual need for those two to fix their familiar
the
situation.
the relationship, yeah.
Yeah, so I think he let that slide because they didn't have enough information, or again, like how did the mind wipes work? Because if they just
Yeah.
wiped it back to, they let her keep the picture, but it doesn't mean she had to know about the rest of the fights and stuff. And he got the cool job, so they could have wiped the fight part and didn't matter. So I guess he let them keep enough. Like the picture of the T-Rex was enough to like fix the problem, but not have to completely ruin their father-daughter bond and let it go a little bit.
Maybe. Yeah, that was my question. It was like, do they remember that a common writer exists? Do they remember that the Abyssal Sisters nearly killed them? Like those are things you'd think you'd need to mind wipe them away from knowing. Uh so yeah, who knows? Maybe maybe they didn't bother this time. Maybe he was like, "Yeah, your picture sucks. You're not. No one's gonna believe you. You write for an occult magazine."
Yeah, like it's basically the same as Hajiki gets to keep. Like he still thinks UFOs are real. He still has his magazine. He still kept his girlfriend because they got
Yeah,
worked around the situation. So probably just removed enough to keep him
maybe,
going.
maybe. And then, of course, Toby, the episode ends with an amazing scene here. So we learned last week that Hodoro's restaurant, they hold a week before Christmas party, and the week before Christmas party happened. So we get to see Hodoro and his friends at the party. His mom's there, and two of their regulars are there, and they're having a beautiful little meal, and it's very sweet, and it ends with a dance number.
A dance
Which
number / karaoke.
yes, which has
Ish.
to be seen to be believed, I think. Kajiki puts on a crazy outfit, like a UFO, like alien sequin number, and does this amazing dance. Renge and Sabi are like backup dancers with him.
They're
He's
dressed up as like
like
Santa
Santa.
Claus and
Yeah.
Mrs. Claus, and they're having fun. And I guess he kind of looks like Rudolph because he has the red nose in the middle of the silver. Like,
Oh, I remember he had the alien antenna on. I didn't know if he was going for a Christmas thing or just like
oh,
looking
you're right, he
like a
did.
space
Yeah,
person. Yeah.
I
But
I don't.
it's great.
I, it's hilarious. I just don't understand why.
Me neither. But it's so good. But me neither. And then yeah, Hodoro gets pulled up on stage as well. Everyone's super happy, and then we end with Hodoro's mom looking at the picture one more time. Still can't see who the father is, and
So
and
this
she's
time,
wistful.
more so, it looks like the face of the dad is ripped off of the picture more so than all the times they put that dumb card in front of it.
I couldn't tell, yeah, because the card's not in front of it, but I thought maybe they were like showing like a glare, like it was like there was something glaring on it so you couldn't see. But I guess it could have been a rip too. I haven't gone back to look, but uh, it's definitely still like concealed. You definitely still can't tell.
And the other thing with the party scene too, that I couldn't think of if it ties to Gotchard himself, like regular. I guess it does. Never mind. Because the tablecloth for the party was half orange and half blue. It made me think of when X8 splits into like super double trouble X8, and then I thought about just now because I scrolled back through the intro credits, and
That's his
normal
colors.
Gotchard, yeah, is orange and blue. Because we haven't seen plain Gotchard for a while, and I forgot that he was just his actual outfit is the shiny blue with the orange trim and highlights and stuff.
How funny is that though? That his mom doesn't know he's the Kamen Rider. He's hiding it from her, but he still bought a matching tablecloth for his Kamen Rider shenanigans that are not Christmas colors. Like at some point is the mom going to be like, this is a weird tablecloth to use for our Christmas party, but okay, if it's important to Hodoro. That's great. That's always like no one knows who the Power Rangers are, but these 5 kids always dress in the Power Rangers colors like every day.
Yeah, especially like in those days. That was I guess it was to help stupid idiot kids like us, but they really hammered home like they only wear their color.
And the hilarious thing was they wore their colors before becoming Power Rangers in the first episode. Like they were already wearing the right colors, and then they became the Power Rangers. It was like they were destined to wear those colors forever.
Josh, I discorded you the picture of the picture, and it looks like they just did a glare, to have the dad there and not really show off who he is. So yeah, it wasn't ripped. It was just a weird,
it's a glare,
angled glare. Yeah.
It's gonna be so. I'm so anxiously awaiting who the heck this dad is and what it's gonna be. It's gonna be so strange. I don't know how they can pull it off, but I'm excited to find out. But yeah, I think after the downer for me that was last episode, this one definitely brought it back up. I enjoyed the fighting. I enjoyed some of the character work that we got. I enjoyed the shenanigans at the end with the Christmas party. That was very feel good, fun, very very Gotchard moment. So yeah, I think that this was a lot better of an episode than last week.
No one died this Christmas.
That's true. No one died this yet. We're still a week out. How did you feel about this episode, Tommy?
If they just had their Christmas party, I think no one's dying for Christmas.
You think we're good? Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, overall it was good. Like the ones that are mainly fights are the ones that are harder, I feel like, for us to do shows about.
Sure, yeah.
Other than like when we ramble about all the dumb shit that we rambled about instead. But like it was a good, solid continuation of the first half from last week. Again, this is one of the ones that as a mini movie would probably work just as good. We have way more Kingdom Heartsing again, so that's always exciting. Yeah, it was just it was a good, happy ending, a good Christmas feel good thing. And it's fun. I'm gonna keep talking over you.
That's fine. Go ahead.
I know, and then it's still fun to see the Kudo and Hodoro growth of like. I'm not gonna put it on the vibe of like, oh, will they or won't they? But it's cool to see them like just existing together and being friends and then being like each other's family when both their families are kind of fucked up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then mom's happy. If mom's happy, everybody's happy.
I think that they've done for as over the top that they went right at the beginning of like, oh my gosh, he's into her and she doesn't like him and that whole vibe. They've really settled into a nice, easy, like they've been very subtle about showing her growing respect for him. Like she's not like in love with the guy, but like she is understanding his merits. You can tell, right? And I think that that's very cool.
She appreciates who her friend is.
Exactly, and that's neat. Like they have a much more nuanced relationship than it seemed like they were going to have initially. which is nice for when they turn out to be brother and sister.
Yeah, don't forget that's still my best guess.
We also didn't mention, which I'm sure people would be upset if we didn't. The little teaser, which now I guess Kieran told us is maybe the teaser for the movie. We get a little peek from behind a tree. We see the bad guy, or I guess one of the guys from the alchemy headquarters who came when they were doing the inspectors. The guy who was kind of a jerk to Hodoro. He peeks out from behind the tree, and he clearly is doing nefarious things, polishing his ring, and he's hanging out with a character. I don't even know.
She looks awesome. She's like a devil-horned magician-looking lady.
Yes. Yeah, I think she has the vibes of like a jester or like a dark magician from Yu-Gi-Oh! Kind of. Like it has that sort of a purple cartoony vibe kind of going on. And that she's the one where we get to see a bunch of level 10 chemi cards. She kind of fans them out and says like, "Ooh, which one should we use next?"
She has like 5 or 6 of them too. Like she has like all of them, or a good chunk of them, because obviously Hodoro has 2 now.
I assumed, of course, like, oh, we might see her in a future episode, and maybe we still. But as Kieran said, it sounds like maybe she's the villain from the movie. So we'll get to see what she's up to in months from now, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that is going to wrap us up for episode 15 there. It still feels like we're kind of in a, like, building to really something breaking down. Like, we keep having these fights with the sisters, and it seems like maybe we're going to eventually, like, something huge is going to happen. I keep waiting for that to go on, but I think we're getting close on that.
Yeah, we definitely, we need a world-changing event soon. Because I feel like at this point, like, to use Geats, by like 15 or 16 episodes in, I feel like we got a full game. The game went to shit. Glazer or Laser, or the hell his name was, I feel like he escalated at this point already. Like, they need one of their major moments to start happening here.
Yeah, that's one thing that Geats was really good about, is changing the status quo just about when you felt like you might start to get bored with the current stuff that was going on. And yeah, I don't want to keep doing Chemi of the Week stuff for the entire run of the series. So hopefully they can progress the larger plot at some point, like you said, with some sort of event that makes me interested again. I'm not checked out yet, but like thinking of the fact that, like, okay, how about like 35 more episodes of this, and then that would be too much for me. All right. So of course you can check out the things we are doing on the internet. As I mentioned earlier, we have the Patreon, $3 a month. You get all of our watch and reacts, all of our back content. It's awesome. You get access to the Discord, patreon.com/thecommentwriters. Of course, send us an email like Kieran did. Send those over to cast@commonwritersucks.com. Again, cast@commonwritersucks.com. And Toby, where can the people find you on the internet?
On Twitter, it's @LifeOfTobes. And on YouTube, it's Tobes Plays.
Awesome. For me, Pretty Deece on YouTube, and Pretty Deece Josh in all the other places. All right, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back next time for episode 16. And until then, have a great week and a Merry Christmas as well. We'll see you after. Have a good one.